Hey everyone, before we get into today's review, just a heads up that there is going to be spoilers by way of the footage and some content in the review. If you have not played Phantom Liberty yet, I would highly recommend playing that or watching content on it first by way of the game before you dive into this review. Humanity begets the philosophy that we are to question our lives at a certain point. Living to find our purpose makes us irritable creatures, looking for our why. Phantom Liberty wields humanity in an artificial world, always asking the player the difficult philosophical questions about life, saving yourself versus another, and teaching us that humanity is both a physical and spiritual quality that benefits us in how we choose to exist. What's going on, you guys? It's your huggable hipster here, and welcome to my review on Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty. Cyberpunk 2077 had a shaky reputation built on a rather rocky start. With the game going from having more bugs than the game should tolerate and being taken off the PlayStation Store, it built a terrible starting reputation. Within a web of all of that and then some, there was a shining beacon of hope in a game that soon everyone would start to love. Due to the many patches and better transparency from CD Projekt Red, their DLC Phantom Liberty is what Cyberpunk 2077 would have been had it been released when it was supposed to. The DLC built upon what the game already started within the story. Its focus drives more of a human angle to the story of Cyberpunk. With 4 endings and a new 5th one being insanely bittersweet and being, well, the saddest one in my opinion, the new endings bring a level of humanity to V's character that we didn't see in the base game. CD Projekt Red did the impossible and had a comeback so strong that despite the rocky start, everyone and their mother wants to play this game and see what the hype is about. So let's get into the controls of this game. The controls, the movements, the NPCs, everything about this DLC is such a change, and the quality of life improvement from what the base game released has so much to offer the player. The controls are smoother, the movement's buttery, the character interactions less glitchy. This is what happens when developers aren't rushed and can take their time with a project, especially one of such magnitude. There's only a couple of nitpicks that I have, so let's go over them. The characters will at points take a very, very long time to respond to V, making the experience while interacting with Reed and some other characters, for lack of a better word, anticlimactic. It just felt drawn out, and I felt like I was waiting for the last shoe to drop when in reality he was just going to say the next sentence. It's not a bad thing, but just something to notice. This is something else that I want to add, and it's a personal note. It's not something that I necessarily had to add to this review, but I feel as if I don't add this, I'm going to be kicking myself for it later. So some of you don't know this, I am 7 years sober from alcohol, and when you get to a certain point in the game, you're at Hansen's party, right? And Reed and V are passing the time in order to get up to Somi, to meet with her, to be able to transfer data, to be able to get further along in the story. I don't want to get into it too much, but there's a point of where you just have to pass the time. And I went over to sit at like the bartender area, and instead of asking you or there being a prompt for something to drink, they just pour your glass with alcohol. While this might be something that is a big deal for a lot of people, it's a big deal for someone who is 7 years sober. It's a big deal for someone who doesn't drink in their actual life, and I want that to match how I play my games. This is, again, an entirely personal critique, but again, I want to bring it up for full transparency because it is a very, and it's something I even mentioned in the playthrough that I did on YouTube, of where I wanted to be transparent. I wanted you guys to know what I was thinking as I was playing. That way you guys know what direction I'm going to be going in for certain aspects of this review. V's humanity through the game shifts and changes, but in the DLC, it gets more grounded and based in something that the player can relate to. Johnny Silverhand's adding to V's waking everyday existential crisis by being a personified consciousness. He's there to remind V of their humanity, and how they go around the world has an impact and consequences. Johnny is V's fear, their doubts, their hunger, their lust, their desires. Johnny's become so deeply embedded in V's brain at this point that he's become a part of V's personality structure subconsciously, if you will. V will consult Johnny without even realizing it when it comes to choices and when V is reflecting on things. Phantom Liberty delivered on so much: variety of missions, expansion of the story, and a well-thought-out narrative that dives psychologically headfirst into V's humanity. CD Projekt Red raised themselves from a PR crisis back to how they were when The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt came out. A stunning story, a game that shows no matter how many add-ons you have in your meat suit, you're still human. Complex, emotionally driven, and always looking for more. My personal score for Phantom Liberty is a 10 out of 10. Yes, I know, I gave it a 10 out of 10. I normally don't give games 10 out of 10s, but it's just really that good. The variety of the endings that you can get, the way it emotionally pulls at the heartstrings, the way that it goes perfectly in sync with the main story of the base game, it is absolutely incredible. Cyberpunk 2077 and its DLC Phantom Liberty are the kind of game that you only see once in a lifetime, like Death Stranding or Resident Evil or The Evil Within even. It's such a rarity to have a game that has this much emotional and psychological and even philosophical magnitude. It holds so much to it. I feel as if this game is a treasure. It is a treat to play and experience, and I know it's going to sound very overdramatic to say, but I'm glad I live in a lifetime where I'm able to experience this masterpiece. But that's my review of Phantom Liberty. If you guys like my face and what I do, please be sure to subscribe and hit that bell down below. I make videos every day here on YouTube. May you find your worth in the waking world, your hunter. Stay casually nerdy, and I will see you all in the next video. Umbasa.